Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the exploration ship Aurora, staring at the holographic display that showed empty space ahead. They had been traveling for 3 months now, searching for new worlds that humans could visit and study. Jake had been a ship captain for 15 years, but he still felt excited every time they entered a new star system. "Captain, we're picking up something strange," said Lisa Carter from her station. She was the ship's communications officer, and her job was to listen for any signals from space. Lisa had short brown hair and always wore a serious expression when she worked. Jake walked over to her station. "What kind of signal?" Lisa frowned at her screens. "It's not like anything we've seen before. It's coming from the 4th planet in this system. The signal has patterns, but they don't match any known language or computer code." Jake looked at the wavy lines dancing across Lisa's monitor. The patterns did look unusual. They went up and down in smooth curves, almost like waves on a beach. Could it be natural? Maybe some kind of electromagnetic storm? "No, sir," Lisa shook her head. "The patterns are too regular. Someone or something is sending this signal on purpose. But I can't figure out what it means." The bridge crew gathered around Lisa's station. Danny Walsh, the cultural specialist, studied the patterns with interest. Maya Collins, who had joined the crew as their music specialist, tilted her head as she watched the signal. "It looks almost like music," Maya said quietly. She had been a professional musician before joining the space program. "See how the patterns repeat? And the way they rise and fall?" Lisa typed commands into her computer. "Let me convert the signal into sound waves." She pressed a button, and strange musical tones filled the bridge. The sounds were unlike any human music, but they had a definite rhythm and melody. "That's definitely not random," Jake said. "Someone is trying to communicate with us." The crew listened to the alien music for several minutes. It was both beautiful and unsettling. The melodies seemed to carry emotions, sometimes happy, sometimes sad, sometimes urgent. "Should we try to respond?" asked Lisa. Jake thought carefully. First contact with an alien species was the most important thing that could happen in human history. He had to make the right decision. Double quotes, yes, but we need to be careful. Send a simple mathematical sequence first. Use the same type of signal there. Lisa worked at her controls for several minutes. She created a signal that played the numbers 1 through 10 in simple tones. The message was sent toward the 4th planet. They waited. Jake felt his heart beating faster. Were they really talking to aliens? 20 minutes later, their answer came. The alien signal changed completely. Instead of the musical tones they had been sending, harsh, discordant sounds blasted from the speakers. The sounds were so unpleasant that several crew members covered their ears. "They don't seem happy," Danny said, wincing at the noise. "Try again," Jake ordered. "Send the same mathematical sequence, but make it louder and clearer." Lisa sent the message again. This time the alien response was even worse. The sounds were like metal scraping against metal, or fingernails on a chalkboard. The crew could barely stand to listen to it. "Captain," said Alex Rivera, the ship's language expert, "I don't think they like our mathematical approach. Maybe we need to try something different." Jake was puzzled. Humans had always assumed that mathematics would be the universal language for talking to aliens. Numbers were the same everywhere in the universe. But these aliens seemed to hate their mathematical messages. Over the next few hours, they tried different approaches. They sent pictures, they sent simple words, they sent scientific formulas. Every time, the aliens responded with those terrible, angry sounds. "They're definitely intelligent," Lisa said. "But they seem to think we're being rude or threatening." Jake sat in his captain's chair, thinking hard. Humanity had dreamed of meeting aliens for hundreds of years. Now that it was finally happening, they couldn't even have a simple conversation. "Keep trying different approaches," he told his crew. "There has to be a way to talk to them peacefully. We just haven't found it yet." As the Aurora continued to orbit the alien world, Jake wondered if they were making a terrible mistake. the aliens were clearly upset about something. But what? And how could humans fix it before this first contact turned into humanity's first interstellar war? The musical signals from the planet continued, but now they sounded sad and frustrated. It was as if the aliens were trying to tell them something important, but the humans just couldn't understand. Dr. Alex Rivera could not sleep. For 3 days, he had been studying the alien signals in his small lab on the Aurora. The harsh, angry sounds the aliens made whenever humans tried to communicate kept playing in his mind. Alex was good with languages, but this was different from any language he had ever seen. He sat at his desk, drinking his 4th cup of coffee that night. The computer screen showed the wave patterns of the alien signals. The original messages from the aliens were smooth and flowing, like gentle music. But when humans responded with mathematics, the alien signals became jagged and rough, like broken glass. There has to be a pattern, Alex said to himself. He had been a language expert for 20 years, and he knew that all communication had rules. Even if the aliens were very different from humans, they still had to follow some kind of logic. Maya Collins walked into the lab carrying her violin case. She could not sleep either. As the ship's music specialist, she felt responsible for understanding these musical aliens. Any luck? Maya asked, sitting down next to Alex. I keep thinking we're missing something obvious, Alex said. Look at this. He pointed to the screen. When they first contacted us, their signals were beautiful, like a song. But the moment we sent back mathematics, they got angry. Maya studied the patterns. What if mathematics feels wrong to them? What if they don't think in numbers the way we do? Alex turned to look at her. What do you mean? Well, think about it, Maya said, opening her violin case. When I play music, I'm not thinking about the math behind it. I'm thinking about how it feels. Maybe these aliens understand the world through emotions and feelings, not through cold numbers. Alex felt a spark of excitement. That could be it. What if we've been approaching this all wrong? What if we need to communicate with them the way they communicate with each other? You mean through music? Maya picked up her violin. It's worth a try. They went to the bridge together. Captain Jake Morrison was still there, looking tired and worried. Lisa Carter was at her station, listening to the alien signals that continued to come from the planet. Captain, Alex said, we have an idea. What if we try responding to them with music instead of mathematics? Jake looked skeptical. Music? Alex, we're trying to make first contact with an alien species. This isn't a concert. But that's exactly what it might be, Maya said. These aliens seem to think in musical terms. Their whole language might be based on melody and rhythm, not words or numbers. Lisa looked up from her station. The signals are getting weaker. I think they're giving up on us. Jake made his decision quickly. All right, let's try it. Maya, what do you need? Maya thought for a moment. I need to listen to their original signal again. The one they sent before we made them angry. Lisa played the recording. The alien music filled the bridge, beautiful and complex. Maya listened, carefully, nodding her head to the rhythm. After a few minutes, she raised her violin and began to play along with the recording. The sound was amazing. Maya's violin blended perfectly with the alien music, creating something that was both human and alien at the same time. The crew stood in silence, listening to this impossible duet between a human musician and an alien species. Now, Maya whispered to Lisa, send this back to them. Lisa quickly set up the equipment to broadcast Maya's violin music toward the alien planet. Maya played a simple melody, trying to copy the style of the alien music she had heard. She played gently, trying to sound friendly and peaceful. They waited. 20 minutes felt like 20 hours dot, then the speakers crackled to life. The alien music came back, but it was different now. Instead of the harsh, angry sounds, it was gentle and curious. The aliens played a melody that seemed to answer Maya's violin, like they were having a musical conversation. It's working, Lisa sighed, her voice full of amazement. They're responding positively. Maya smiled and played another melody, this one a little more complex. The aliens responded with their own musical phrase, building on what Maya had played. "This is incredible," Jake said. "They're actually talking to us." For the next hour, Maya. And the aliens traded melodies back and forth. Each exchange became more complex and expressive. Sometimes the alien music sounded happy, sometimes curious, sometimes excited. "I think they're trying to tell us about themselves," Maya said during a break. "This melody keeps coming back." It might be their name for their species or their planet. Alex was taking notes as fast as he could. "This changes everything we know about communication. They don't think in concepts like we do. They think in feelings and relationships." "Can you learn their language?" Jake asked. "It's not really a language," Alex said. "It's more like an art form. But yes, I think we can learn to understand them better." As the musical exchange continued, the crew of the Aurora realized they had just achieved something amazing. They had made peaceful contact with an alien species by speaking their language of music and emotion. Ambassador Kate Phillips arrived on the Aurora 2 weeks after the first musical contact with the aliens. She was a tall woman with gray hair who had spent 30 years helping different groups of humans work together. Now she faced her biggest challenge ever, building friendship with an alien species. "Show me what we know so far," Kate said to Captain Jake Morrison as they walked through the ship's corridors. Jake led her to the main conference room where the team had gathered. Maya Collins sat with her violin while Alex Rivera had papers and computer screens covered with musical notes and wave patterns. Lisa Carter was there too, along with Danny Walsh, who had been studying everything they could learn about alien culture. "The aliens call themselves something that sounds like a musical chord," Alex explained. "We've been calling them the Zephyrians because their music sounds like wind chimes. They seem to live on the fourth planet, and their whole society is based on making music together." Maya played a gentle melody on her violin. "This is how they say hello. And this," she played a different tune, "is how they show they're happy to meet us." Kate listened carefully. The music was beautiful, but she wondered how they could build a real relationship with beings so different from humans. Have they told us anything about themselves, their technology, their history? "That's the interesting part," Danny said. "They don't seem to think about those things the way we do. When we tried to ask about their spaceships or their cities, they got confused. But when we play music about human emotions or experiences, they understand perfectly." Kate frowned. "How do we negotiate with them? How do we make agreements or treaties?" "I don't think they want treaties," Alex said. "They seem to want something more like friendship. They keep playing melodies that feel like invitations." "I think they want us to visit their planet." Kate felt nervous. As a diplomat, she was used to careful negotiations and formal agreements. But these aliens seem to want something much more personal and emotional. "All right," Kate said. "Let's try to build trust slowly. Maya, can you play something that shows we're honored to meet them?" Maya nodded and began to play a melody that sounded both respectful and warm. She had been practicing for days, learning to express human emotions through music the way the Zephyrians did. The response came quickly. The alien music was complex and layered, with multiple harmonies playing together. It sounded like a whole orchestra of aliens welcoming the humans. "They're excited," Maya said, smiling. "I think they want to teach us more about their music." Over the next few days, Kate and her team established a routine. Every morning, they would have a musical conversation with the Zephyrians. Maya would play melodies that describe human life, the sound of rain, the feeling of friendship, the joy of discovery. The Zephyrians would respond with their own musical stories. Slowly, the humans began to understand more about Zephyrian society. The aliens lived in groups that made music together, like giant orchestras. Each group had a different musical style, and they communicated with other groups by sharing songs. They had no wars because they believed that harmony in music meant harmony in life. They're amazing, Danny said one evening as the team reviewed their progress. They've built their entire civilization around cooperation and artistic expression. Kate was beginning to see the bigger picture. This could change everything for humanity. These aliens have something we've been searching for, a way to live together peacefully. But not everyone was happy about the contact. Some humans back on Earth thought the aliens were too different and might be dangerous. Others worried that spending time with musical aliens would make humans weak or distracted from important work. Kate knew she had to prove that friendship with the Zephyrians would help humanity, not hurt it. She decided to take a risk. Maya, she said, I want you to play something for them. Something that shows how humans can be both strong and gentle. Show them that we can fight when we need to, but we prefer to build and create. Maya thought for a long time. Then she began to play a melody that told the story of human history, the struggles and wars, but also the art and science and love that humans had created. The music was sometimes sad, sometimes triumphant, but always hopeful. The Zephyrian response was the most complex music they had ever sent. It seemed to say that they understood human nature and respected both human strength and human creativity. I think they want to be our friends, Maya said, tears in her eyes. Real friends. Not just allies or trading partners, but friends who make music together. Kate smiled. For the first time since arriving, she felt truly hopeful. Maybe this strange first contact through music would lead to something wonderful for both species. The warning came without any notice. Captain Jake Morrison was drinking his morning coffee when Lisa Carter's voice crackled over the ship's communication system. Captain, to the bridge immediately. We have incoming ships. Lots of them. Jake ran to the bridge, still holding his coffee cup. What he saw on the main screen made his blood run cold. 12 massive warships were approaching their position, each one 3 times larger than the Aurora. The ships looked like giant metal daggers, black and threatening against the stars. Where did they come from? Jake asked. They just appeared, Lisa said, her voice shaking. No warning, no signals. They weren't there 5 minutes ago. Ambassador Kate Phillips arrived on the bridge, followed by Maya Collins and Alex Rivera. Everyone stared at the approaching fleet. Are they hostile? Kate asked. Before anyone could answer, the communication system buzzed with an incoming signal. The voice that came through was cold and mechanical, speaking perfect English. Human vessel Aurora, you will stop all communication with the primitive species on the 4th planet immediately. You will also prepare to be boarded for inspection. Jake stepped forward. This is Captain Morrison of the Earth ship Aurora. Who are you and what gives you the right to make demands? I am Commander Ryan Foster of the Hegemony 5th Fleet. We are the lawful authority in this sector of space. All contact with unauthorized species must be approved by the Hegemony Council. Kate moved to stand beside Jake. We're explorers from Earth. We're conducting peaceful first contact with a new species. We have every right to be here. Commander Foster's laugh was harsh and unpleasant. Rights? You primitive humans know nothing about rights in civilized space. The hegemony has ruled this galaxy for 2,000 years. We decide who talks to whom and when. On the screen, the lead hegemony ship moved closer to the Aurora. Jake could see weapon ports opening along its hull. The species you call Zephyrians are under our protection, Foster continued. They have been isolated for their own good. Their weak, emotional nature makes them unsuitable for galactic society. Maya stepped forward angrily. Weak? They're the most peaceful, creative people we've ever met. They've built a civilization based on cooperation and art. Exactly, Foster said with disgust. Art and music are wasteful distractions. The hegemony values strength, order, and efficiency. We have brought peace to 1,000 worlds by eliminating such foolishness. Alex Rivera was working at a side console, trying to learn more about these hegemony ships. Captain, he whispered, their technology is much more advanced than ours. but I'm picking up something strange. Their ships have no music, no art, nothing creative at all. It's like they've removed all beauty from their lives. Kate tried to negotiate. Commander Foster, surely we can reach some kind of agreement. Earth is willing to work with the hegemony to establish proper diplomatic relations. There will be no agreements, Foster replied. You will cease all contact with the Zephyrians immediately. If you refuse, we will destroy your ship and blockade this system to prevent future contact. Jake felt angry and helpless. The hegemony ships could easily destroy the Aurora, but he could not abandon their new Zephyrian friends. We need time to consider your demands, Jake said, trying to buy time to think of a plan. You have 1 hour, Foster said. After that, we will take action. The communication ended, leaving the bridge in tense silence. What do we do? Lisa asked. Kate looked at the hegemony fleet on the screen. We can't fight them, but we can't abandon the Zephyrians either. These hegemony people sound like bullies who have been pushing everyone around for centuries. Maya was thinking about the beautiful music the Zephyrians had shared with them. The Zephyrians don't deserve to be cut off from the rest of the galaxy. They have so much to offer. Alex looked up from his console. I've been analyzing the hegemony. Signals. Their entire communication system is based on commands and threats. They don't seem to understand cooperation or friendship at all. Jake made his decision. We're not going to abandon our friends, but we need to be smart about this. Lisa, send a message to the Zephyrians. Tell them about the hegemony and warn them that we might be forced to leave. And then what? Kate asked. Then, we figure out how to fight an empire that has been controlling the galaxy for 2,000 years. Jake said grimly. The crew of the Aurora had 1 hour to decide the fate of their friendship with the Zephyrians, and possibly the future of human. Expansion into space. Captain Jake Morrison refused to abandon the Zephyrians. When the 1 hour deadline passed, he sent a simple message to Commander Foster. We will not stop our peaceful contact with our friends. The hegemony's response was swift and harsh. Within hours, their warships had surrounded the Zephyrian star system like a metal fence. No ships could enter or leave without hegemony permission. They're not just trying to stop us, observed Nicole Brooks, the Aurora's pilot, as she studied the enemy formation. They're cutting off the entire Zephyrian world from the rest of the galaxy. Jake watched the tactical display with growing anger. The hegemony ships were positioned to intercept any vessel that tried to reach the fourth planet. But Jake had spent 15 years in space, and he knew that even the best blockade had weaknesses. Nicole, how good are you at flying through asteroid fields? He asked. Nicole smiled. Better than most, Captain. Why? Because we're going to visit our friends, blockade or no blockade. The plan was dangerous but simple. The Zephyrian system had a large asteroid belt between the second and third planets. If Nicole could navigate the Aurora through the floating rocks, they might be able to avoid the hegemony patrols and reach the Zephyrian homeworld. Maya Collins was worried. Captain, what if the hegemony catches us? They said they would destroy our ship. Then we better not get caught, Jake replied. Engineer Tony Mitchell had been studying the Zephyrian technology with growing excitement. Captain, I've been analyzing the signals from the planet. The Zephyrians aren't just musical. Their whole technology is based on harmonic frequencies. They use sound waves to power their cities and control their machines. What does that mean for us? Jake asked. It means they might be able to help us, Tony said. Hegemony ships use standard energy shields and weapons, but the Zephyrians might know how to create defenses that the hegemony has never seen before. The Aurora began its dangerous journey through the asteroid belt. Nicole flew the ship with incredible skill, weaving between giant rocks that could crush them in an instant. Behind them, hegemony patrol ships searched for any sign of the human vessel. There, Nicole pointed to a gap between two large asteroids. We can hide in there and send a message to the planet. Maya quickly set up her communication equipment. Within minutes, beautiful Zephyrian music filled the ship. But this time, the music sounded different. It was sadder, more worried than before. They're scared, Maya said, translating the emotional content of the alien music. They know about the hegemony blockade. They're asking if we're safe. Alex Rivera had been learning more Zephyrian musical language every day. Play this. He told Maya, humming a melody. It means we're still here and we want to help. The Zephyrian response was immediate and surprising. Instead of just music, they sent technical information encoded in harmonic patterns. Tony Mitchell worked frantically to decode the data. This is incredible, Tony said. They're sending us blueprints for some kind of harmonic shield generator. It uses sound frequencies to deflect energy weapons. Can we build it? Jake asked. With their help, maybe. But we need to work together with Zephyrian engineers. Jake made another dangerous decision. Nicole, take us down to the planet. We're going to make a house call. The Aurora descended through the Zephyrian atmosphere, avoiding hegemony detection by staying close to the planet's surface. What they found amazed them. Zephyrian cities were like giant musical instruments. Crystal towers resonated with harmonious sounds, creating energy and light. The aliens themselves were tall, graceful beings with translucent skin that seemed to shimmer with musical vibrations. When the Aurora landed near the main city, hundreds of Zephyrians gathered to greet them. They sang in complex harmonies that made the air itself seem to vibrate with welcome. They're beautiful, Maya whispered. A group of Zephyrian engineers approached the ship. Through musical communication, they explained that they had been watching the hegemony for many years. They knew about other species that had been conquered or isolated by the Galactic Empire. They want to help us fight back, Alex translated. But they need our human creativity and determination to make it work. Tony Mitchell worked with the Zephyrian engineers to build the harmonic shield generator. The device looked like a giant tuning fork made of crystal and metal. When activated, it created a field of sound waves that could deflect energy weapons. The hegemony has never faced anything like this, Tony explained. Their weapons are designed to break through normal shields. But this harmonic defense might actually get stronger when they attack it. Jake looked at the strange alien device. Will it work? Only one way to find out, Tony said as the Aurora prepared to leave the planet. Jake realized that they were no longer just trying to maintain contact with the Zephyrians. They were now actively resisting the hegemony empire. The question was whether one human ship and one peaceful alien world could stand against 2,000 years of galactic tyranny. Dr. Alex Rivera made a discovery that changed everything. While studying Zephyrian music patterns, he found something hidden in their songs. The melodies contain coded messages that travel far beyond the Zephyrian homeworld. Captain, Alex said excitedly, calling Jake Morrison to his laboratory. The Zephyrians haven't been isolated at all. They've been secretly communicating with other species across the galaxy. Jake looked at the computer screen showing musical patterns. What do you mean? Their songs carry information through space, Alex explained. Each melody contains data about different star systems. The Zephyrians have been sharing news and stories with dozens of other worlds, all without the hegemony knowing about it. Maya Collins joined them in the lab. You mean there's a whole network of species that the hegemony thinks they've conquered? Exactly, Alex said. And they're all still in contact through music. The hegemony doesn't understand artistic communication, so they never realized what was happening. Jake felt a spark of hope. How many species are we talking about? Alex played a recording of Zephyrian music. Listen to this song. It mentions at least 20 different worlds. Some are close by, others are hundreds of light years away. Navigator. Sam Rodriguez had been working on star charts. Captain, if these locations are accurate, we're looking at species spread across half the galaxy. That's a lot of potential allies. Kate Phillips was amazed when she heard the news. This could be the resistance network we need to fight the hegemony. But how do we contact them? Through music, Maya said. The Zephyrians can teach us how to send coded messages and songs. We can reach out to these other species and let them know that humans are ready to help. Over the next few days, Maya learned the complex art of musical communication. The Zephyrians taught her how to hide information in melodies, how to send messages across vast distances, and how to identify responses from different alien species. The first contact came from a species called the Crystal Wings. They lived on a world of floating islands and communicated through light patterns that could be converted into music. Their message was simple but powerful. They had been waiting for someone to unite the resistance against the hegemony. More contacts followed. The Thornlings sent rhythmic drum beats from their jungle world. The Void Whispers transmitted haunting melodies from their space stations. The Deep Singers responded with low-frequency songs from their ocean planet. Each species has been keeping their culture alive in secret, Danny Walsh observed. The hegemony thought they had crushed all resistance, but these people never gave up. Sam Rodriguez worked frantically to coordinate the communications network. We're getting responses from 37 different star systems now. Some of these species have technologies the hegemony has never seen. The breakthrough came when the Mind Shapers made contact. They were an ancient species that could influence thoughts and emotions through specific sound frequencies. Their message contained instructions for creating a galaxy-wide harmonic resonance that could disrupt hegemony technology. It's like a musical virus, Tony Mitchell explained after studying the Mind Shaper data. If we can get enough species to broadcast the right frequencies at the same time, we can overload the hegemony's communication and control systems. Jake was impressed but cautious. How many species would we need? At least 50, Tony said. And they would all have to coordinate perfectly. The timing would have to be exact down to the second. Maya was already working with the Zephyrians to compose the Resistance Symphony. Each species will play their part based on their natural abilities. The Crystal Wings will handle high frequencies, the Deep Singers will cover the low tones, and so on. Ambassador Kate Phillips realized the scope of what they were planning. We're not just fighting the hegemony anymore. We're organizing a galactic revolution. Alex had been translating messages from dozens of worlds. Captain, these species have been oppressed for centuries. Some of them have lost their homeworlds. Others have been forced to hide their cultures. They're all ready to fight, but they needed someone to bring them together. Why us? Jake asked. Why humans? Because we're the newest species, Maya said. We don't have old grudges or ancient fears. We can work with anyone, and we believe that different peoples can cooperate instead of just surviving separately. The Aurora had become the center of a secret communications network spanning the galaxy. Every day, more species joined the resistance. The hegemony still thought they were dealing with one small human ship and an isolated group of musical aliens. They had no idea that their 2,000-year empire was about to face its greatest challenge from the very peoples they thought they had defeated long ago. The final battle began when Commander Ryan Foster lost his patience. After weeks of searching for the Aurora, he decided to make an example of the Zephyrian homeworld. His orders were simple: destroy the planet and show the galaxy what happened. To species that defied the hegemony, Captain Jake Morrison watched in horror as the hegemony fleet moved into attack formation above the Zephyrian world. 12 massive warships powered up their planet-killing weapons, ready to turn the beautiful crystal cities into dust. Captain, Lisa Carter said urgently, we're receiving signals from everywhere. The resistance network is ready. On the main screen, Jake could see the hegemony ships preparing the fire. But he could also see something the enemy could not. Hundreds of small ships from dozens of different species were arriving at the edge of the star system. Maya Collins sat at her station with her violin, connected to the most complex musical communication system ever built. Through harmonic frequencies, she was linked to every species in the resistance network. Everyone is in position, Maya announced. 53 different worlds are ready to begin the symphony. Ambassador Kate Phillips stood beside Jake, watching the tactical display. Are we really going to stop an empire with a song? Not just any song, Alex Rivera said from his station. A song that represents everything the hegemony has tried to Destroy, cooperation, creativity, and hope. Commander Foster's voice crackled over the communication system. This is your final warning, humans. Surrender now or watch your musical friends die. Jake opened the channel to the entire hegemony fleet. Commander Foster, you're about to learn something about the galaxy you thought you controlled. You never defeated these species. You just taught them to work together in ways you could never understand. Foster laughed coldly. Impossible. We crushed their resistance centuries ago. You crushed their armies, Jake replied. But you never crushed their spirit. Maya, begin the symphony. Maya raised her violin and played the opening notes of the Resistance Symphony. The melody was beautiful and sad, representing all the suffering the hegemony had caused. But it was also strong and hopeful, showing that the oppressed species had never given up. Across the galaxy, 53 different worlds joined the song. The crystal wings added high, ringing tones like crystal bells. The deep singers contributed low, powerful notes that seemed to come from the heart of space itself. The thornlings played rhythmic patterns like the heartbeat of growing forests. The effect was immediate and devastating. The harmonic resonance created by so many species working together began to interfere with hegemony technology. Computer systems started malfunctioning. Weapon systems went offline. Communication between ships became impossible. What's happening? Foster shouted over the static filling his communication channels. Tony Mitchell monitored the readings from his engineering station. The symphony is creating a galaxy-wide harmonic field. It's disrupting all hegemony technology at the same time. But something even more amazing was happening. As the music spread across space, other species began to join the symphony. Worlds that the hegemony thought they had completely conquered started broadcasting their own musical contributions. Captain, Sam Rodriguez called out in amazement, we're getting signals from over 200 worlds now. The symphony is spreading to every corner of the galaxy. The hegemony fleet was in chaos. Without their advanced technology, the warships were just floating metal shells. But more importantly, the crews inside were hearing the symphony too. Jake realized that many hegemony soldiers came from conquered worlds. They had been forced to serve the Empire, but they had never forgotten their own cultures. As the music played, these soldiers began to remember who they really were. Sir, Foster's communications officer said, we're receiving surrender signals from 17 ships in the fleet. The crews are refusing to follow orders. Impossible, Foster said, but his voice had lost its confidence. The symphony continued for 3 hours. When it finally ended, the hegemony empire had effectively collapsed. Ships across the galaxy had either surrendered or been abandoned by crews who chose to return to their homeworlds. Maya lowered her violin, tears streaming down her face. We did it, she whispered. We actually did it. Jake looked at the tactical display. The hegemony warships were drifting powerless in space. Some were already being boarded by resistance fighters. Others were sending messages of surrender. What happens now? Kate asked. Alex was receiving reports from across the galaxy. The species are already talking about forming a new galactic council, one based on cooperation instead of conquest. They want humans to help lead it? Jake smiled. I think we can do that. After all, we've had some practice bringing different groups together. As the Aurora flew toward the Zephyrian homeworld, Jake reflected on how much had changed. They had come to the system looking for new friends. Instead, they had helped free an entire galaxy from tyranny, using nothing more than music, creativity, and the human belief that different peoples could work together. The age of the hegemony was over. The age of galactic harmony had begun.